Getty Brexit News. Tony Blair has launched an attack on Jeremy Corbyn in his latest desperate Brexit intervention. The Remainer said Labour's current position on the unshackling itself from the EU was contradictory as he unveiled his plans to thwart the nation's exit. The ex-Labour Premier attacked Mr Corbyn over his failure to lead the party as he urged him to back a second referendum, which could see Britain remain in the EU and give members of the public an opportunity to decide on Theresa May's Brexit deal. Mr Blair said Labour was in the worst of both worlds, with neither Leave voters or Remainers supporting the party's position. He lambasted Jeremy Corbyn for his contradictory position over the party's support for a customs union despite his refusal to publicly support being in the single market himself. The Labour Party will pay a heavy price for the leadership's closet Euroscepticism, Tony Blair describing Labour's position as an unacceptable compromise for Leave voters. He said, "If the reason for being against EFTA, the European Free Trade Association, or the single market is we don't want to be merely rule takers, then the customs union solution has the same objections." The Labour Party will pay a heavy price for the leadership's closet Euroscepticism. The tragedy is the price the country will pay for Labour's failure to lead. Mr Blair said Remainers were losing faith in Labour as a route to avoid Brexit. He added, "The Labour Party will pay a heavy price for the leadership's closet Euroscepticism. The tragedy is the price the country will pay for Labour's failure to lead." He said Labour could be in an electorally winning position if Mr Corbyn promised to give the people the final decision on Brexit. Mr Blair, who campaigned to remain in the EU, said, "Labour cannot argue for a jobs-first Brexit and then oppose what is plainly the only way of protecting British job, which is to remain part of Europe's economic structures." He backed Labour and Tory rebels prepared to support an amendment to the government's Brexit legislation aimed at keeping the UK in the single market. Getty Brexit News. Tony Blair is on a mission to thwart the exit. The former Labour leader's comments came as his think tank published a report setting out that the losses from Theresa May's plan to leave the customs union significantly outweigh any gains. The Tony Blair Institute for Global Change report on customs found that Mrs May's hopes for a customs partnership would not deliver the same benefits as the full customs union. Mr Blair said the customs partnership plan put forward by the PM as the latest failed attempt at fudging the issue. The former Premier said there is a dilemma at the heart of the Brexit issue. Either stay close to Europe to protect the economy, which would result in following Brussels rules, or break free, resulting in considerable damage to the economy.